So I'm Nick. I work in Size Manchester for like 3 years, and I collect sneakers for about now 10 years. It all began when I was a kid. I used to play football in the street where I was from, and I used to live with a lot of kids my age. We used to meet up all the time. We used to play in the local team at the time, in the village where I was from, who was sponsored by Juventus, and it was even like providing Nike uniforms. So Nike built that status among us to be the cool brand, the cool people brand, and so it led to people to buy like Nike as the cool trainer. The Jordan 5 Grapes, I think, which is my first ever Jordan. I was already researching into vintage Nikes, like from the 80s and 90s, and that's the first one I put my hands on. That started my passion, first for Jordans and then for the rest, but it was mainly that. So the main two trainers that would have defined the cool guys were these 97 Silvers. Of course, we know about these as being in the Italian background. We know about like it was like prominent in the Armani circles, in the Dolce Gabbana circles, and it's mainly known for being like an Italian Air Max. And another one was the Shox R4, which I had, and it was such a crazy shoe. Still looking at now, so futuristic. This was pretty much the main two shoes that will have defined in my era. This is a Cortez in collab with Clot. It was a massive collaborator with Nike for the last 20 years. Now they switched with Adidas, and this was their last project they did with Nike, excluding what they done Clot they did in the past. But this was probably the most advanced project in terms of design boundaries pushing. It's basically like a 3-piece shoe. Now you've got one inside the other. This is the inner piece. And it's all inspired by Kung Fu, so it's got like a very thin sole under, and you can insert on what looks a Cortez in a more common way. Inserting it in, you can see this swoosh, cutting it out in 2 colors, and you can even wear this single piece with another insole as a mule. The whole project, is inspired by Kung Fu, with all this crazy box with chambers and moves that look Nike and cloths in the back, and then the young graphic all over. So crazy. In my collection I have around 120 pairs, something like that. Yes, one that I regret so much to have sold is the Huarache Adapt. It was when Nike was proposing the self-lacing technology with a hub, and that, in my opinion, is what I think is the best designed self-lacing shoe they ever done. It was so detailed, so technological. It was so cool to show it how it will self-lace with an app. I wish I had that back then. It's even because, as I said, it was a sort of status, but also a reflection of a Nietzsche back in the days. As it started, associated with technology, as the name suggests, like the foundation of the name suggests, is synonymous of victory. So as I began playing football, I'm such a competitive person in whatever I do, so I feel like the symbol of what it represents is so in my chords, if it makes sense. No, I'm more into abstract designs. I mean, I like details in designs and harmonious shapes. With this, I mean like silhouette form, like matching of materials and colors, yeah. Obviously, talking about trainers, meeting people with my same passion, and like sharing knowledge and facts about it, yeah. Air 180s, this is the lime green colorway. Shoe is actually from 2005. It's the only retro they ever did, and I wish they will come back again with the actual shape of the ultramarines with a big bubble. You can see the difference of how the big bubble turns out. These ultramarines are the retro from 2024, and I think it's the greatest shape they can possibly do. And I wish all the retro, all the OG colorways will come in this shape, including these. So I'm trying to build in my collection a whole picture of how all my shoes have to document the progress of technology within Nike. So if it starts from the 70s, I got some shoes from 70s, from the 80s, from the 90s, from 2000. Every era, every important model that represents that step of innovation within that time. So if you look at it as a whole picture, it all makes sense. It all, documents step by step. Then we got these Jordan 3s that I haven't heard about in ages. It's basically a collab with Justin Timberlake, and it's not a common Jordan 3, it's the Tinker version, which has a swoosh over, inspired by the album Ayer Ayer. I love the details on this, I love the suede. They're not common colors findable in a Jordan 3. You've got the Justin Timberlake signature embroidered on, the Tinker outfield signature. I got an ACG from 2007, which I've never seen anyone else on socials or even in person. No, I just go with the flow with what the brand proposes and what I'm drawn into, what I feel I want at that time when it comes out. Yeah, absolutely. The way they match colors, as I mentioned before, like the harmonious designs means how sometimes, example, Nike makes either muted tones or a predominant color, which then gets cut by details in another color, usually brighter, and I love that. I sometimes put that stuff in my design. Then we got Wild Hedge ACG from 2007. I've not seen a single person having these other than me. I just bought them from eBay for a really big steal. This colorway is just so crazy and so contemporary in terms of style. You see a lot of brown shoes coming out now, and the Wild Edges kind of got forgotten. It was mainly the upgrade of the Wild Hood, which was the first approach from Nike to make a switch between ACG and a running trail. And this was so innovative at the time because it had no seams. The seams we see here are like just top stitches, but they're not actually connecting any panels together. They're just like a single upper piece with vinyl pieces all over glued on. Sakai does it so well because she mixes two iconic shoes, she puts them together and she comes out with something totally innovative that you would have never thought about. And that's the similar approach, but instead of mixing them up together, it will be like reinventing a way of making that same technology. Like an example, if, as I mentioned, like a Warachi cage over a Sonder Max, you will replace the zip, you put a sock fit neoprene over, and you might take off elements of the Sonder Max to replace them completely with the Warachi, and you might be like see the final product thinking this is neither a Warachi, neither a Sonder Max. It's like something new that came out from two pre-existing ideas. The size exclusive Air Force One Manchester B, as I know they did 3,000 pairs, and the funds will have gone to We Love Manchester Foundation to help the homeless in the area. It's got a lot of details with like the B embroidered on, the beehive embossed like with a laser cutting. The materials are just great and so premium. It's got 0161 on the tongue, incredible shoe. It's got magazine graphic all over. My vision goes a bit against what realistically brands are being innovative with. Fortunately, we have like a big impact from algorithms and social media that influence brands to push whatever is already popular and whatever the community wants. But the ironic answer, in my opinion, is that community doesn't know what they want. We want to be surprised, and we want brands to experiment more, to be riskier, as it used to be back in the 80s and 90s when designers had the total leadership of the design process, and that's how you bring innovation, mainly like bringing us something we don't expect.